sounds so good. My name is Jay and this is my 2020 Audi S3. I am currently tuned stage 1 with integrated engineering, and I just wanted to kind of talk about what it's like to daily drive a stage 1 S3, kind of go over what I've done to the car so far, what I plan on doing with it in the future, and I also wanted to take a quick test drive just to show and talk about the kind of the differences that I noticed when going from stock to stage 1. So just talking about like the external of the car and what I've done so far, you can see here, this is an 8V, it's the facelift model, but I did swap the front grille here with the RS style grille, and I also have the blacked out badges. I have the blacked out S3 badge there, and I also have the black rings on the front and back. I've also done wheels on this car. So the car came with 19-inch Audi Sport wheels, and they look really nice, but due to the roads here, I wanted to drop down to a bit of a smaller wheel so I could have more of a meaty tire. So these are Audi AHXs, I believe. I got them secondhand off of Marketplace, and I think they came off of an Audi A4, but they are 18 by 8.5 and at a plus 35 offset. So in my opinion, this actually is probably as close to perfect fitment for the stock suspension that I could ask for. So I am really happy with how they turned out. And for the tire, I am running Bridgestone Potenza Sports, and those are a 245/40. Like I said, I wanted a meatier tire. I actually do like the look as well. I think it looks really nice. And this tire, I actually don't see a lot of people running with this car, but I got a really good deal on them on Tire Rack, so I just decided to pick them up. And I think in terms of the exterior, that pretty much wraps it up. I do have a couple small things here, like you can see here on the rear reflectors. I have tints, and those are by Badge Skins. It's a local company to me here in Ontario, Canada. I also have this part of the rear taillight tinted as well. And then looking at the front, I also did this amber delete as well. So just to try to make the car look a little more aggressive. I really like the blacked out look. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up for the outside. As I mentioned, I am stage 1. So I also have the integrated engineering cold air intake as well as the turbo inlet. So you can see that here. I did put these on about 2 weeks into buying this car. So I've had the car now for about 1.5 years, and I daily drive this car. I drive it often and I love it. So let's start this up. You can see down here I have the power link by Integrated Engineering, and I also have the app here, which is just going to allow me to kind of have my gauges up. So it's just a nice feature. When you are tuned with IE, you are able to have gauges up via Bluetooth and see that data live, which is really cool. As I mentioned, I have had this car for 1.5 years, and I just tuned the car stage 1 1 week ago. So the first thing I want to do is kind of just talk about what it was like going from stock to stage 1. And then I'm also going to be tuning this car stage 2. I have a downpipe that's also from Integrated Engineering. It's at home and it's being installed tomorrow morning actually. So once I get that installed, I will go stage 2, and then I'm going to post a comparison video just talking about the differences going from stage 1 to stage 2 in the S3. And this is going to be the same with the Golf R as well. It's the exact same engine, same turbo. So right now, as far as power goes, going off of Integrated Engineering's numbers, I should be sitting at around 360 horsepower and about 370 foot-pound torque, and this is on the IE's 91 high torque tune. I could go on to the 93 tune, but we don't have a ton of gas stations locally that have 93, and I just didn't want to be in a position where it was a pain in the ass to find gas. So I stuck with 91. I do have the ECU and TCU tunes. So the TCU tune would be the DSG tune. And for anybody that's thinking about tuning, I do highly recommend getting both of them. And if you do want to go with the high torque tune, you are going to need the TCU tune as well. But if you're in a position where you don't have the money to do both, you could always just go with the low torque, you know, ECU tune, and then when you have the money, get the TCU. But in my experience, the TCU tune is definitely worth it, and we will talk about that now. So I'm going to start this off in comfort. I'm just going to take a quick drive around. This isn't going to be too long, but I do want to kind of talk through the things that I've noticed when I went from stock to stage 1. So right off the bat, if you look here at the gauge cluster, you can see that we are in comfort, and I'm in automatic right now. I'm not in manual, and it is showing me the gear that I'm in. So that was actually a result of the TCU tune, which is a really nice feature. It is nice to see what gear you're in. You know, it's obviously not make or break, but it's something nice to have. So that's the first thing that you're gonna notice if you do the TCU tune. But just driving, so I'm in comfort right now. This car from stock in comfort mode was pretty comfortable. I do have the Technic trim, which here in Canada is the highest trim for the S3, and I do have the mag ride suspension. So in comfort, it is softening up the suspension a lot. But you know, the car felt in comfort mode when just driving around town normally. It felt a little like sluggish sometimes, or a little kind of jerky when starting from stops and when changing gears at lower speeds. And something that I noticed with the stage 1 tune along with the TCU tune is it feels a lot smoother just daily driving. It feels overall like a smoother driving car. The shifts are a little smoother. When you're starting from stops, it's definitely feeling a little smoother. There's not like any, well, there is a little bit of a delay still going from a stop, but it's definitely more improved. And yeah, other than that, like if you're just in comfort and you're cruising around town, the car still feels stock. We have more power, obviously, but when you're not getting on it and you're not getting into boost, you're really not going to notice it. The car's going to feel basically like stock, with the exception of it being a little smoother, again, because of that TCU tune. Here, I'm just going to shut the roof. But something that I really like about this stage 1 tune is when you flip it into sport mode, and I'll do that now. Turn the screen on first. Oh, gotta get rid of that. Let's pop it in dynamic. So when I had this car stock, I almost always drove in manual mode when I was wanting to drive Spirited, because I really didn't like how the car shifted in its stock form in dynamic mode. It shifted at weird times. There was a lot of turbo lag. You know, when I was wanting to like accelerate, you know, even in second or third gear, there would be, oh, that's something that I'm actually dealing with right now. I've been getting this error intermittently. I've had it diagnosed a couple times in the dealer, but we'll talk about that another time. There is no coolant leak. My temperatures are fine. I think it might be a sensor issue, but I'm not really 100% sure. But anyways, yeah, so in the stock form, the dynamic mode, automatic transmission, or sorry, automatic shifting, it just shifted at strange times, and I didn't really like it. Overall, it felt unnatural. And what I noticed when I went to the stage 1 ECU and TCU, the car feels so much better in automatic mode for sport now. Basically, whenever I want power, as soon as I put my foot down, it gives me the power. I have instantaneous torque, and that's as a result of the shift points being altered, so it keeps it higher on the rev range as you're just, you know, driving around town. So there is a huge difference just in terms of how the car drives as far as transmission goes from this TCU tune. But the power difference from going from stock to stage 1 is really intense. And I came from a SS 1LE Camaro before I had this car. I sold the Camaro. It was a 6-speed manual, and that car is it has a 6.2 liter V8, which makes 455 horsepower and 455 foot-pound torque. So that is a you know, it's a bigger, much more powerful engine, obviously. And when I came out of that car and I came into the S3, obviously this car was not nearly as powerful, but even though it's got a small little 2-liter engine, 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, it did feel quick. Like, it felt pretty quick in its stock form. And sorry, that's probably gonna happen a couple more times throughout this video. But once I got on the stage 1 tune, the car completely changed in terms of its power. It feels like a lot closer actually to my Camaro. It's obviously not as fast or as powerful, but when you get on it in you know, in dynamic mode, or if you're in manual mode at lower RPM and you get on the throttle, it actually puts you back in your seat a lot more than it did in the stock form. So it's basically, you know, realistically, I don't think I need more power in this car. It's super fun how it is now. I think it has enough power and it has enough torque, and it's super fun to drive. And again, this is my daily driver. And in terms of a daily driver, I actually think this car is basically perfect for the price range. Obviously, you know, cars are completely relative to budget, but anything, obviously the Golf R is the same car, but anything in the price range of this car for like a sporty daily driver that's practical, that has 4 doors, I don't know if anything would compare for me personally. And you know, I came out of the Camaro. Before the Camaro, I did have I had a BRZ, actually a 2013 BRZ that I had done a full exhaust on, and I sold that car after I think 2 or 3 years of driving it for 2019 86, and I bought that car brand new. And I also did a full exhaust and tuned that car as well with the Open Flash tablet, for anybody familiar with that platform. But that car, the 86, probably to this day is the most fun that I've had in a car. And it was the best driving car in terms of a driver's car that I've driven to date. But this car, just in terms of a daily driver, is so much more practical. It's so much fun. Like especially with the Stage 1 tune, this car is really, really fun. My mileage has suffered immensely as a result of being on Stage 1 tune. You know, just because I can't help myself when I'm driving around doing my day-to-day driving, I can't help myself but to get on it, you know, more often than I was before. But yeah, so I think that pretty much sums it up. I'll do a quick pull here for you guys. And I don't know if it's gonna pick it up, but another thing that I forgot to mention, so I've had the IE intake and turbo inlet on the car for over a year, like almost a year and a half, you know, basically since I got the car. And with those mods, with the intake and the inlet, the car had a really nice turbo kind of blow off sound, but it didn't flutter at all. And now if I get on it in around 3,000, wait, okay, now it's just giving the blow off, but it does make a really nice turbo flutter now, and that is a direct result of that Stage 1 tune. So that's like, in my opinion, I'm a big sound guy. You know, the thing that I missed about the Camaro the most is the sounds that car made. And obviously, you know, getting into this car, I was pretty disappointed as far as the sound of this car went, just because, you know, it's a much smaller engine. It's not gonna make those beautiful V8 noises, but with this intake, you know, I'll let you hear it again. It sounds really good. Like, the sounds that it makes now are really nice. But yeah, once I tuned, I got that really nice turbo flutter. So in my opinion, just that sound alone may even be worth tuning, even if you're not interested in the additional power. But the additional power is 100% noticeable. It's well worth it. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm going to be going Stage 2 tomorrow, after I get that downpipe installed, which I'm really excited for. And I'll do a follow-up video just comparing these two, going from Stage 1 to Stage 2. But yeah, I'll finish this video off just kind of giving you guys a little more taste of how the car drives. We'll put it in manual. We can drop it down. There's that flutter. It sounds so good. I've actually really grown to like the sound of this car, to be honest. I still feel like it's not loud enough. And I don't want it to be super loud, you know, I don't want it to annoy my neighbors, or just like annoy general traffic while I'm driving day to day. But I have really grown to like the sound of this car. I think it sounds great for, especially for a 4-cylinder, but because of the mods, because of the intake, because of that tune, this car makes all kinds of really fun sounds, and it's just made it so much more fun to drive on a day-to-day basis. So I'll give you guys one more pull, and then I'm gonna wrap this video up. So it sounds so good. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I'm just gonna enjoy this drive home, and again, if you guys are interested in seeing the, you know, the journey as I continue to mod this car, I think in terms of power, stage 2 is probably as far as I'm gonna go, but you know, who knows, things can change. But I do feel like I am going to do some additional exterior mods. I want to do a front lip. I'm probably going to do a spoiler and diffuser. But yeah, follow along if you want, and thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.